Before I even start the video, I want to be very clear in saying majority of the previous videos I've made were about SpongeBob, and because of that, they could be watched by basically any age group and be watchable to any extent. This video in particular is applicable to anyone because it's the lesson that matters, but the story it revolves around, I suppose, is a bit darker, so I wouldn't recommend anyone that's not at least a teenager to watch. Now, I don't go into any great detail, but it just involves some things that are a bit not as kid-friendly. But in any case, I recently watched a playthrough of a game that I'm quite a fan of. Now, that being the case, I'm not a fan of everything in the game, and for that reason, I can't outright recommend playing it or watching a playthrough like I did. The game I'm talking about is called Until Dawn. The essential premise of the game is there is a group of teenagers that are trapped on a mountain, and they need to wait until dawn for people to come and save them. Just, again, to briefly explain it. But what's fascinating about this game is that your decisions affect the story, in that one choice or one misstep even, or mistake, could either save or cost someone's life. I suppose in the case of a mistake, it's most likely going to cost someone their life, but in any case. Now, if you do plan on playing this for yourself or watching a playthrough like I did, then I'm just going to warn you that I'm going to have I'm going to spoil a bit of something, but it's not like a crucial aspect of the story, I don't think. But anyway, there's your warning. There's a little bit of spoilers, but it's nothing major. But anyway, in one sequence of the game, there are two characters, Chris and Ashley, that are strapped down to chairs, and above them are two saw blades that are slowly lowering themselves toward the characters. And there's also a gun given to Chris, and you, as I said, you have a decision here. You can either choose to shoot yourself. So the person that has trapped you says that, okay, whoever doesn't get shot gets to live. Again, to set the scene, there are saw blades coming down. Chris has the gun. He can choose to shoot himself or shoot Ashley. And in his mind, he probably doesn't necessarily want to trust the person that said whoever lives or whoever doesn't get shot gets to live. But anyway, you got to make a decision. So you can choose to shoot Ashley or you can shoot yourself. Come to find out, no matter who you choose to shoot, it's actually a blank, okay? The decision whether you choose to shoot yourself or to shoot Ashley affects what happens later in the game, because later down the line, as Chris is trying to make it back to a safe room or a house that is currently where everyone is situated at, if you had chosen earlier in the game to shoot Ashley, even though it was a blank and you didn't end up shooting her, if you had chosen to do that, then Ashley lets you die. She lets you stay outside and get taken out, essentially. What is fun to do is look up different scenes or different variations of scenes, because there are so many different ways the story can play out, because, once again, your choices affect the story. So I did look up this scene, what happens if you do choose to shoot Ashley, and exactly what I said, she lets Chris die. So I went down to some of the comments, and I was quite surprised to see people in full support of Ashley, like, oh, I love her for doing that, or yeah, you go girl, why you can't blame Ashley for letting Chris die, all this stuff. Again, just many comments in full support of Ashley's decision. And this is all so backwards and wrong. I mean, I understand that getting your quote-unquote sweet... Oh my goodness. I understand that getting your sweet revenge may feel good in the moment. But there are many things that feel good, but are anything but good. This idea of revenge and making things quote-unquote... Why do I keep messing with that? This idea of revenge and making things quote-unquote right is so juvenile and, in some respects, evil. Romans 12:17-19 reads, "Never repay evil for evil to anyone. Respect what is right in the sight of all people. If possible, so far as it depends on you, be at peace with all people. Never take your own revenge, beloved, but leave room for the wrath of God. For it is written, 'Vengeance is mine, I will repay,' says the Lord." Now, you might take that verse to mean never enact justice, ever. And that is simply not the case. The Bible talks a lot about justice, but justice and revenge are different, even if sometimes the ultimate outcome may appear or even be similar. The great mistake a lot of people make is thinking that they are the same thing. And this is me just kind of thinking out loud. I might change my mind on this, but the way I see it, revenge has more so to do with emotion. It's like, okay, this person did this to me or someone else, and now I just want to feel that, quote unquote, things are made right. Not by any like rule that's written down, no nothing. It's just I want to get them back. Whereas justice is, okay, someone robbed a bank. What does it say in the law is the punishment for that? It's not about, oh, this person wanted this to happen because now they're going to be even. It's like, no. It's just justice. That's all it is. The whole idea being here that I think that the people that are in support of Ashley choosing to let Chris die should be ashamed of themselves. I do understand the desire, because again, I'm sure that's somewhat an innate thing of like just this desire of wanting to get someone back and wanting to, but like speaking honestly here and thinking about it honestly, what age group is more infatuated with revenge? People over 25 or people under 15? It's a very juvenile idea, at least in the respect that I'm talking about here. To be clear, I understand in a situation like this, had someone decided to make the decision to shoot you, whether or not the the gun ended up having a real bullet in it or not, you would still feel pretty, I don't even know the right word to describe that, but it's a pretty messed up thing to do. So I understand that you wouldn't necessarily trust the person anymore. But as the old saying goes, and it's true, two wrongs don't make a right. I came across some other videos in my, I'm not sure if research would be the right word, but in any case, I found a PewDiePie video where he was playing through the game, and on a specific scene, he says to himself, because he's playing with these two characters, one of them being Emily, who is basically the notorious B word of the game, at least one of the two, I suppose. And he says out loud, "Wow, I hate her." That's what he says. But immediately following him saying that, he is prompted with a decision. He can either try to save her or jump off the ledge and let her fall. And to his great credit, this is what he states.
I'm not gonna kill someone because I hate them, all right? That's stupid.
And he is absolutely right. Your virtuous decisions and actions are required regardless of anyone else's virtue or lack of it. In fact, virtue shown only when it's quote-unquote deserved isn't really virtue at all. Luke 6 verses 31 through 36 touches on this exact idea. In verse 33, it reads, "And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same." Psalm 119 verse 157 reads, "Many persecute me and trouble me, yet I have not swerved from your laws." I know this is some basic stuff, at least I'd say it is, but it unfortunately has to be stated nonetheless. Make good decisions, live virtuously, do good, no matter who else does the same or not, for that is true virtue. I just want to be very clear once again in what I'm saying. In the initial example of Ashley and Chris, and the fact that Chris chose to essentially kill Ashley, and then she later goes on to choose to kill him, it's like, oh yeah, that's so, yeah, you go girl. I love her for doing that. It's like, bro, what? Have we forgotten about forgiveness? Have we forgotten about virtue? Again, virtue exists and is required of you absent of the presence or lack of it from anyone else. Yes, I understand the desire for revenge, but again, desires and feelings and the heart, these are all deceitful and unproductive things in most respects. And I'd like to add also to this idea that even though there are some people, unfortunately, probably a plurality of people, that would still disagree with what I'm saying and would just go back to the whole like feeling and emotion argument of no, they did wrong, therefore they get wrong done to them. But when you honestly think about it, don't only picture yourself as the one that wrong was done to, for we all have done wrong to others. And yes, you could still argue, it's like, yeah, I might have like lied or something, but I wouldn't make the decision to kill someone. And fair enough, I trust that you wouldn't. But you really never know. But in any case, on this specific idea of killing someone, it even says in 1 John 3:15, everyone who hates his brother is a murderer. And you know that eternal life does not reside in a murderer. I'm sure everyone has hated an individual at one point or another. The whole idea being here that I'm sure if it really came down to it and you were the one that had made the mistake or great misstep, you would plead for forgiveness. So in the same way, forgive others. Anyway, I hope the point was clear. Act virtuously in spite of the decisions that anyone else makes. Do check out the previous video as my Christmas special for 2024, talking about the SpongeBob Christmas special and a lesson that I picked up from it that could be of great use to you. So do watch that if you haven't already, and do stay tuned for more lessons going into this next year. Thank you so much for watching. Apply this lesson today or whenever and wherever applicable. And remember to treat others the way that you want to be treated, and to love God and love your neighbor, and therefore you will continue to be a good person. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, it's an honor.